After the battles of 1775, the American colonies and Britain were at war. Not all colonists felt this was right. Many colonists still thought of King George III as their ruler. They did not want to go to war with Britain. Other colonists were patriots. They wanted independence. Independence means freedom from being ruled by someone else. Some patriots felt that independence was worth fighting for. Patrick Henry, a patriot from Virginia, said in a thrilling speech to a group of Virginia delegates, "Give me liberty or give me death." Thomas Paine wrote a pamphlet called Common Sense in January 1776. Common Sense pushed for independence. The pamphlet was brief, inexpensive, and easy to understand. Paine wrote that King George treated the colonies unfairly. He claimed that the only way to stop this was to become independent from Britain. Colonists bought over 100,000 copies of Common Sense within a few months. George Washington said, "I find Common Sense is working a powerful change in the minds of many." Thomas Paine put into writing what many of the boldest patriots were already saying. He wrote that the colonists had nothing to gain and much to lose by staying tied to an unjust king. Delegates to the Second Continental Congress had read Common Sense. Many agreed that independence from Britain was necessary, but they also knew it was risky. Britain was a powerful country. King George III was already gathering soldiers to attack the colonies. Could the colonies stand up to Britain? Some delegates also worried that not enough colonists wanted independence. However, support for independence was growing across all the colonies. John Adams argued strongly for independence. More and more of the delegates agreed with his point of view. At last, on June 7, 1776, a Virginia delegate named Richard Henry Lee asked Congress to officially declare independence from Britain. Congress asked Thomas Jefferson and 4 others to write a Declaration of Independence. A declaration is a statement that declares or announces an idea. Congress needed a document to declare why the colonies had to become independent of Britain. In the Declaration of Independence, Jefferson wrote what many Americans believed about their rights. Rights are freedoms that are protected by a government's law. Jefferson argued that all people are born with rights that no one can take away. He wrote that people have the right to live, the right to be free, and the right to seek happiness. Jefferson argued that a government should protect these rights, and if it does not, then the people have the right to start a new government. Jefferson listed many ways that Britain did not serve the colonists. For example, King George had tried to take away rights. He had forced taxes on the colonists and sent soldiers to control them. Jefferson showed that the colonists had many reasons to separate from the king. They had the right to create their own government. The Declaration of Independence begins by promising to explain why the colonies must break away from Britain. The next section explains that people have rights that cannot be taken away. It says that all men are created equal. The longest section is a list of complaints against the king. The last section argues that the colonies have to be free to protect the colonists' rights. It declares that the colonies are independent. At the bottom of the document, delegates to Congress sign their names. John Hancock, President of Congress, signed his name in large letters. Notice the date on the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776. On July 4th, 1776, the Second Continental Congress voted to accept the Declaration. The delegates knew that signing the Declaration was dangerous. Britain would call it treason. Treason is the crime of fighting against one's own government. Anyone who signed the Declaration could be charged with treason and hanged, yet the delegates still signed. The Declaration was read aloud to excited crowds across the new nation. People tore down pictures and statues of King George. They celebrated by ringing bells and firing cannons. The Declaration of Independence marked the moment when Americans chose to rule themselves. The Declaration is important today because it states that people of the United States believe in equal rights for all. Today we know that Jefferson's words, all men are created equal, include everyone, women as well as men, every race, every group, every ability. Is that what the words meant when the Declaration was written? Probably not. In 1776, all Americans could not exercise the same rights. Only white men who owned property could vote. Many believed this was unfair. Abigail Adams wanted Congress to recognize the equal rights of women. She wrote to her husband, John Adams, "In the new code of laws, remember the ladies."